I had one wise man. Um, I think his name is Tirapat. I met him at a networking event, and I did not know him much at all. I just said hi to him, and he would just ask me some questions. Hey, you look really young. Are you working yet, or what are you doing? And I was like, I just started working at Promech like a month in, and he gave me some advice that'll probably stick with me. I'll probably tell my kids this, and I want to tell you guys as well. Is like,
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the podcast. I'm joined with an amazing guest, Mr. Alex. Thank you so much for your time and for coming on today's episode of the podcast. I truly appreciate it.
thanks for having me.
So, for my audience, Alex is a sales development analyst at Promech Resources, where he specializes in sales development, connecting businesses with top tier industrial machinery solutions for purchase or rental. He's passionate about driving business growth and exploring new opportunity in Thailand's dynamic market. With a bachelor's degree in administration or management, he thrives on learning, adapting, and tackling new challenges. He's fluent in Thai and English with conversational Chinese skills, which allows him to bring a global perspective to his work. If you'd like to connect with Alex, his LinkedIn is in the description as well.
Appreciate that.
So without further ado, let's get into today's episode of the podcast. So I gave the audience a brief introduction about you, but I would like for
Mm-hmm.
you now to introduce yourself to the audience.
All right. So, hi everyone. My full name is Apichai Alex Timmons. My nickname is Alex. Everybody usually calls me Alex by short. Very easy to call. But yeah, I am half Thai, half American. I'm born in Thailand. I currently work for Promech Resources, specializing in, heavy machinery, spare parts, and everything. And my role in Promech is a sales development analyst. I do marketing from time to time, and short-term rentals and sales and all types of stuff like that. And yeah.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for the introduction. So I'm sure from how from what I introduced you and from what you said to the audience, there's a lot of questions and they want to know more about your journey and your unique voice. We know that you're a sales development analyst. So, what influenced your decision to build your career in sales?
So to be honest, I never thought it was gonna be sales initially. I was kind of lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but a wise man, my my father, he's always been very supportive of me since I was young. Whatever passion I had, whether it was for sports, cooking, martial arts, anything, he was always pushing me to be the best version of myself. And he had told me, if you want, sales is a good opportunity, good career path to go into, because sales give you skills that actually are used and implemented in real day-to-day life. If you can sell, if you can read people, if you can close deals, you can, navigate through someone, you can change someone's mind, and you can actually get someone to say yes. Everybody has their own roles in doing what they need to do to make an impact for the world or the company or themselves. It's all different. But for me in general, my perspective and my opinion, sales has really given me, skills and stuff that I can adapt and work. And yeah, just read people's psychology and stuff like that. And yeah, I wouldn't change it for anything. And it's been really good. This is just the beginning, and yeah, I'm just excited to just keep on learning and growing, man.
Yeah, that's actually amazing how you talked about, the decision and what got you into sales. And it's good to see that you're very happy with where you are right now and your role and, dealing with sales. But if we talk about how you first got into sales, we have to talk about the type of things that you're selling. So, from what I mentioned in the introduction, you're in the industrial machinery sector at Promech Resources. But
Mhm.
how did this all start? How did you first become involved in this sector?
So, when I did an intern here, um, I didn't know much about machinery at all. It was just the company selling machinery and stuff. At first, I didn't think much of it, but when um, you actually look deeper into it and think deeper, it's like, machinery, machines, heavy machinery, all types of machinery that maybe some of you have seen on the highway or in warehouses or at construction sites. Those machines, they are the backbone of everything. You could say they build the world basically. That condo you're staying in, how do you think it got built? You need cranes, you need machinery to lift all that stuff up. Humans can't do that. That's way too heavy for them. So machinery is like the background, the behind the scenes that you don't see. Sometimes you see that place being built and you go somewhere for vacation, you come back a month later, holy shit, it's done. That's machines, man. But it's also the people behind it operating it that actually makes a difference as well. They are, you know, the workers, the operators using the machines. And I truly believe that this industry is going to be needed in a long time, going forward. And it's just, yeah, it's like the backbone of anything, construction, all the types of that. They all need machines. Agriculture, man. We don't use cows or buffaloes anymore. It's all tractors and stuff. They're machines as well. So that's just how it is. It's always been like we've always used machines for something, whether it's any industry.
What you mentioned about like it being the backbone, and there's obviously a very it's a probably one of the most useful industries, and it's the backbone for everything that has been built, which you're exactly correct.
Exactly.
And if we talk about your role specifically, so we mentioned that this industry and this sector is something that has a lot of future, as with other sectors. But if we focus specifically on this sector and your role in particular, I mentioned in the introduction that part of your role is specializing in sales and connecting businesses with top tier industrial machinery solutions. But in your perspective, why is it so important to connect businesses with these top tier industrial machinery solutions, whether it's for purchase or rental? And are there any key strategies that you use in terms of sales that you would be willing to share with the audience?
Well, for one, I would say connection is really important. There's a phrase that kind of stuck with me. It's a very simple phrase. I think it goes like this. It's not who you know, but who knows you. So you can know a lot of people. You can know Justin Bieber, that dude, this dude, but if they know you and they know you have something that can solve a problem for them or a solution to something, then you're valuable. You're valuable. You're a valuable asset, or you can solve something that someone might be looking for. And connection is a really good thing. You could be the greatest salesperson ever, but have zero connection. That's going to be a lot harder. Or you could be an average salesperson or just above average at best, but all these guys. This guy that is one of the biggest, probably spare parts company in Thailand, and he knows these guys. So that's kind of how it goes. So it's connection and connection. It's not who you know, but who knows you. And that's just what makes it very valuable because connections literally run everything. And I've learned this from my dad. He's a big networking guy. He goes to events like religiously. Probably he goes to networking events like probably 2 to 3 times a week and every week, and that's just how important it is, man. You know more people, that's your advantage, and sometimes you don't even have to try that hard or go that hard, you don't have to work hard. Yeah, you just have to work smart. You plant a seed in some of them, and what I mean by planting a seed is, you introduce yourself to them, you talk to them, you get to know them, you offer them something, maybe your business card, plant an interest in them, follow up with them maybe a month or two later, gain some type of relationship where they can be like, yo, this guy is actually really nice, and maybe I'll use his service this time since my company actually needs machinery. And there you go. It's just something like that. At the end of the day, like I said before, sales is a conversation. You're having a conversation with something, and oh, sorry, with someone to solve their problems and whatever their problems might be. All right, so the other tip I would say, and um, to excel and be good in sales is, being consistent and keeping up and, just keeping up with your deals and just doing all the right stuff. Just be consistent, keep going, grind, don't stop, never give up and just, ride it out, you know. Uh, it might be a bad day today, but tough times never last, tough people do, and you just gotta ride it out.
That's actually some great advice that you gave to my audience on sales and just life. It can be applied to life in general. And if we look at your journey and how you started and where you started from till now, you must be going to someone for guidance, right? And getting piece of advice to become knowledgeable in sales and just life in general. So my audience is probably curious to ask, who do you turn to for guidance? And what's a piece of advice from them that has stayed with you?
So for sales advice, um, well, to be honest, I do just go to my dad. He is my role model, someone I've looked up to, and just been a really key part and playing in what's got me to where I am today. And just also invest in yourself when you have time. Read sales books, watch sales content. People scroll on their phones all day, every day, um, and sometimes you can't control it. I have, it's not like I have an impulsive disorder or anything, but sometimes, life takes the best of you and gets the best of you. And sometimes you end up scrolling on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube shorts for an hour, but at least make the best of that time. I'd say um, do something or watch something that actually aligns with what you want. If you want to get better at sales, watch some sales content. There's a lot of sales short where people just give advice on what to do, some tips and tricks. Some of them might work, some of them might, but some of them might work, some of them might not. But you get the gist. You listen and just try going through them. And sorry, my AirPods just died mid convo right there, but I'll just continue anyways. And yeah, find someone that is trustworthy, someone who you can talk to for sales guidance. And mine is my dad, but also invest in yourself. Um, find time to watch videos, read books if you could, and just literally just obsess over it if you could. If because um, I believe in my mind and just in general that if you want it enough, you'll do whatever it takes to get there. Because if you want it, but you aren't willing to take the risk, take the necessary routes to actually get there, then that means you don't want it enough. If you really want it, you will do anything to get it there. And that's my take on that.
That's actually a really good take. And you talked about a lot of different things, for example, obsession, investing in yourself, and about wanting it enough. And I feel like that can be applied to my audience for sure. It's all about how bad they want it, how obsessed they are, how much they invest in themselves when it comes to their time and self-improvement, like you mentioned.
Exactly, yeah.
And if we talk about you and your growth and how you want to invest yourself in your how you want to invest in yourself over, let's say, the next decade, where do you envision your growth and impact heading over the next decade?
So I might be wrong, but this is my personal perspective and opinion on this. Over the next decade, that's a long time, but I hope I will still, you know, be good, mindset clear, and set a good goal every year. Try not to spiral or anything. You got to be consistent, obviously. Just keep hammering, keep going. Don't let up, don't give up, don't listen to the haters. They're just noise. Once you reach the top, they come congratulating. Some people are like that, but just grind it out, Something I'll apply to this. This is not sales at all, but I've heard it from many people and some of my friends that have done content creation, or like becoming an influencer. At first, for content creation, I'll just say this. At first, it's cringe, it's weird, it's just not natural. But when you get those million views, you're starting to cash those paychecks in, money's flying in. All right, it's not cringe anymore. Or even if it is cringe, who gives a shit? You're gonna do it and you're gonna make that bank. You're gonna make that money. So it applies to the same way. I would say if you want it enough and you really want it enough, you will do whatever it takes to get it. Yeah. That was kind of the same take, but yeah.
No, but it was another way that you phrased it, and then you brought it into perspective about where you envision yourself and all about like where you see yourself heading. And also you gave the audience a lot more perspective on how to keep it up. You mentioned it goes back to your point of, like you said, being on it, being on the grind, being consistent. And if we talk about people who are watching this right now who want to be in the same field as you and they're probably wanting to kickstart their journey, what would you recommend for them? What is the best way for someone to truly kickstart their journey in the field of sales?
So, I had one wise man. Um, I think his name is Tirapat. I met him at a networking event, and I did not know him much at all. I just said hi to him, and he was just asking some questions. Hey, you look really young. Are you working yet, or what are you doing? And I was like, I just started working at Promech like a month in, and he gave me some advice that'll probably stick with me. I'll probably tell my kids this, and I want to tell you guys as well. Is like when you're young and you're new, just be a sponge, absorb everything, take everything in, try everything, experience it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything, try it, because then you will know what you like and what you don't like. And if sales is not for you, you know it early, then you go and find what you're actually passionate about and what you actually enjoy doing. Because a career path, I would say you take seriously because once you graduate uni, you finish high school or whatever it may be, you start working. That's real life. You got to be paying bills and stuff like that, and you're going to be doing a certain type of job for a certain period of time, whether it's a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it may be. You want to do something that you actually enjoy doing, If you're just doing something you hate every day and you dread about every day, then you're just gonna end up burning out, or you're just gonna waste an immense time of your life.
So would you say that advice and that the advice that he gave you has been applicable to the work you do at Promech till today? And how would you say you've grown from when you first started, being a sales development analyst to now in the field? Like, did you see yourself improve in any aspects? Have you improved your conversations? Like, tell us more about it.
Oh, for sure. I would say like in the first few weeks I was doing sales, I hated it, you know. I was like, what the hell, man? I'm talking to customers, I'm getting rejected. This is so intimidating. It really like it shoots a shot at your confidence, man. It really brings your confidence down, and you're talking to people. You're talking to an individual, and it's a conversation, and you're talking to people, human at the end of the day, and everybody's different, you know, their name's different. They have their own unique style, their own personality. So it's you're talking to a lot of different people, and some people are different. They're weird, they're intimidating, you know, this is their approach and stuff like that, and you just got to navigate through it. And yeah, when I was starting out, man, it was intimidating. Some of these customers were just hammering me, and yeah, it was not a good time. But once you know, get over that hump, you put more reps in, you call more people, you get more deals done, you get more deals signed, you know, just more experience in general, and those reps will just um, make you stronger per se. You know, you get rejected, you fall down, you come back up, you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. And when you keep doing that, then you get better. But only if you actually want it. You know, if you just keep doing it, but you keep repeating those mistakes, and you're not passionate, you're not, I wouldn't say not passionate, but you're not ambitious, you're not really going to get it, then you're just gonna, you know, repeat the cycle over and over again. And yeah, I've experienced that where made the mistakes, you know, a couple times, and then you just got to go like, you know, hey, I've made this mistakes a couple times now, you know, I got to lock in. I got to, you know, let's not make it again, you know. Next time I come across this again, let me think, let me zoom out, slow it down, think in a different perspective so you can kind of, all right, this is, yeah, let's go with this approach instead and not jump the gun. And yeah, it just takes years of experience. I'm not quite there yet. I've only been here a year, and I've already learned so much because we've got some pretty good sales guys here as well. But yeah, it's just a grind and a journey, man. It's a beautiful journey, and just keep getting 1% better every day, I would say. Yeah, don't force it. There's going to be bad days, there's going to be good days, but you know, just 1% better every day is better than nothing. So just keep on grinding, keep on growing, and just keep killing it, man.
You know what? From what you said, there's a lot that we can extrapolate and take apart from what you said because you mentioned about the passion, you mentioned about the reps, learning from the mistakes. And like we mentioned previously, maybe in the games, that sales is all about conversation. So how you sell to someone, part of it is what you're selling. So, at ProMake, you're selling like industrial machinery, for example. And sometimes people, a lot of the times, they have to be interested in what you're selling. But I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because you're in sales, that it's probably a combination of how you sell and what you're selling.
And
So,
also how well you know your product as well. So like if a customer comes and says, what's different, um, you know, what's different in your brand? What makes it better? What's the thing that separates it from the competitors? And yeah, you just got to know your product as well. But you know, as I said, I'd say that's an experience thing, reps. You go to site visits, you see more, you interact more, and you learn more. And then over time, 5 years, 10 years, it compounds. You've done so many things, you've talked to so many different types of customers, and then you kind of get a view of how different people do stuff and how they talk, how they walk, how they interact, how they ask, how they, it's the whole thing. It's human psychology, literally. But also, you're trying to make money. Yeah. So, yeah.
Exactly. And this is a great point that you mentioned about knowing your product as well, because, a lot of times when you interact with people, they want to know more about your product and you're the expert as the person who's the sales. But you mentioned about like the reps, and it's quite interesting because over your experience, you probably have had 100 dozen phone calls and a lot of conversations with people, and you've obviously had to adjust it based on how you think they will react to what you say and what kind of information
Correct.
they require.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
in a sense, do you ever come up with a game plan of what you're trying to say? And do you ever come across a certain type of people that you talk to that have the similar answers? So you can kind of position yourself to say that if you ask these questions, you're more likely for them to say yes based on the amount of reps that you put in.
Oh, for sure. Sometimes you can read a customer by how they, ask the questions. Some of them, um, will just like, for an example, there's a customer where I put them in the category of price shoppers. So they just shop for prices. They don't really are interested in the product or when they want to use the machine or anything. So they just call in. You ask them, "Hey, what's up? How you doing? What are you looking for? How I can help you? How can I help you?" And then they just go like, "Hey, I saw this forklift, and how much are you renting it for a month?" And then you go like, yeah, sure, I'll get to the price to you in a bit. But what are you doing? What's the application? Do you need an operator? Where are you working at? And then they just completely ignore you. No, I just want the price. And then all right, that's this dude's a price shopper. He might be genuine, he might not be, but he's just jump the gun from, I just want to know the price. And then you read the customer and you can actually kind of tell if they want it or not. But obviously, everybody's different. Some people are price shopping. Once they know the price, they're interested as well. So it varies. But I would say at least 60 to 70% of the time that people, when they just go for the price, they're price shoppers. Like they just want the price. So they can compare it with other brands and stuff as well. That's one of the main reasons, but it varies, yeah.
And it's quite interesting that you mentioned about price shoppers and knowing about the customer and stuff. Because when you deal with different types of customers and you're having these conversations with them, like you mentioned about the reps, but also when you're doing the reps, there are times when you come across an outcome that is not what you quite expect. Maybe someone doesn't want the product, they turn away, they don't engage with you further. And how would you say you have dealt with that rejection, and has it been easier to deal with it over time? And what is your take on like those type of conversations when you're having those conversations, you want the outcome, but sometimes you don't really get that from a specific customer?
Well, sometimes you try to navigate through the deal, um try to crack down what's actually happening, find their pain point, what's causing them pain, what's actually, causing them, discomfort to come to you, they came to you like, hey, could you help me, could you solve this problem, and your job is to find what that problem is. And sometimes the customers, they don't tell you that directly, and as a salesperson's job, you need to kind of crack the code. You need to get to the bottom of it, of what are they actually looking for. Are they just comparing prices? Do they have a project actually coming up that actually needs a machine and they're unsure of what machine to use? Um, what are they doing? What do they want? And it's just a matter of getting down to the point of um, yeah, understanding their pain point, as I said, and getting to the bottom of it, basically cracking the code. Because if you don't get to what they actually want, then you're just there, just constantly in a cycle of just asking questions. They give you something, then you just keep going at it like that. I learned that when I was starting, and yeah, you have to get to the bottom of what they actually want, or you'll just waste time just chasing up with them back and forth.
Wow, that's actually a really great point and great advice that I'm sure my audience is learning a lot from. And part of your journey and something that you're very passionate about is basketball. So we were having this conversation before we jumped onto this interview about basketball, and you have played basketball in university, power forward, and something you're passionate about. So where does this passion of basketball come from, and how would you describe your game style and the way that you approach the game? Is it similar to sales, or is that a completely different thing?
Well, I would say yes and no, kind of. Sales can be competitive because you are competing with your competitors, you know. There's probably like hundreds of companies out there that are doing the same thing as you, but you know, what makes it better or what makes you better than them. So you're at the same time you're still competing, trying to outsell your competitors and get the most money and get the most customers. And with basketball, it's kind of the same thing. It's a team game. You know, you're with your team and you're trying to win. But at the same time, it's also individually because you got to fight for that spot on the team. You know, it doesn't come for free, you know, that on a basketball team, 5v5, five, you know, like just organized, sorry, just normal organized basketball, 5v5. There's about 12 people on the roster. So that leaves 7 people on the bench and 5 people on the starting position on the floor. So you're competing, essentially competing for a spot on the team. And when you're on the team, you're competing again for the spot, for a starting spot. So you're still competing at the end of the day, even if it's a team sport or anything. So I just feel like it's that competitive mindset to just want to compete and want to get better and want to be better and just getting better as well. But yeah, my passion for basketball, I love the sport. I've been playing since I was 15, so it's been quite some time now. And yeah, I love the sport. Wouldn't change it for anything, man. Ball is life.
So, who are some of the players that you look up to in today's NBA, and what do you like most about the way they play?
So, I would say my top three. I'll just do top three that I look up to. I would say LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and what's the last person? Um, I would say Derrick Rose, I guess. Derrick Rose was kind of the first stars that I really looked up to at one point. And I'll give like an explanation for why I chose these three. So for LeBron James, I would say the longevity. He's consistent every year. He's perfected his craft and what he does. You know, he's been in the league longer than he was born. So it's been a really long time. And yeah, he's just the longevity, the consistency, the constant grind every day in, day out. He's just going at it. And yeah, he's just one of the best in the world. And Steph Curry, so he runs off ball screens, he moves all the times, always running around the court to find an open space to shoot. So he shoots threes, he runs around, you know, gets the defender out, uses screens. It's like he's a very smart player, I would say. Like his IQ is up there of one of the best point guards of all time. And for Derrick Rose, I'd say his mentality is just crazy. It's just his mentality to compete is crazy. Like when he came into the league and played for the Bulls, he was one of the rookies, one of the younger guys, and oh man, did he dominate. He was not afraid of the big stage. He was just there for the spotlight, man. He would compete, he would get good, he would go crazy, win an MVP, and just be one of the best, man. If it wasn't for those injuries, he'd probably be killing it today too. But it's unfortunate, but it does happen. But yeah, that's my take.
So it's great to see that you're very passionate. Okay, the audience will definitely take one thing for sure is that you're passionate about basketball. That's for sure. And you've obviously excelled in basketball in university, and you still love to play the game till today. And similarly, you're also excelling in sales, which is something that you do and you're passionate about and you put a lot of reps in. And from the advice and everything you've talked in the podcast until now, the audience, I hope, is taking a lot from your journey, what you've learned, and more about who you are. And this podcast is all about talking about journeys, about unique voices. And if we talk about journeys, I would like to ask you, what is your surreal journey? Because everyone has a journey. So, what would you say yours is?
So I'd say since I was young, it's always been kind of different, not the same as a normal person growing up in Thailand, because I have parents from both different countries. So both of them are really different in how they grew up, how they were raised, their culture and everything. So I kind of got both the both worlds. I got them, and I got my dad, I got my mom. So it was yeah, that journey was good, but and for the future, I just see myself, just navigating through different cultures, whether it's Thai culture, American culture, Chinese culture, or anything in general. I'm eager to learn. I love meeting new people, and I just, I'd love to explore and just see what is there and what life can offer, because um, there's so much more to life than meets the eye, man. Sometimes you think that's all you see on TV or on the internet, but once you see it in person, it's totally different, and it just brings a different perspective on life to me, that it's just, you got to get out there, you got to live life, man.
That's great. That's a really great summarization of your surreal journey. And as we are approaching the end of this interview section of the podcast, I would like to ask you one question, which I ask all my guests, which is if you could voice one unique message to the world, what would it be?
So one unique message to the world, I would say, and this is coming from me, and I would say to the audience, you guys are probably around the same age as me, or around 20 or 30, or some of you are probably just starting out. And my advice would be, try. Try everything. Well, not everything, but try everything that is good. I didn't want to put that in a bad way, but try everything that you want to try and just want to do. Try it, do it, and don't wait. Because procrastination does kill sometimes, and just don't procrastinate, or just try to do it less. Sometimes you won't be perfect, but just work your way through it. Navigate through it, but just try. Try new things, and just don't wait. If you want it, do it. If you start that business with that homie, do it. Even if it doesn't work, even if the first 3 months you're losing money, you'll learn from it regardless. Everything's a lesson. Life is a lesson. So yeah, just do that. Try and just yeah, never give up and just live life, man. That's what I'd say. That's my message.
Thank you so much, Alex, for that message. It was truly appreciated by the audience. I'm sure up until now, the audience has learned so much about you, about sales, about basketball, just everything in general, all the advice you have shared in your unique message. Everything has been really meaningful. And once again, thank you so much for your time on today's episode. And my final question for you is, do you have any final comments or thoughts you want to leave the audience with before we wrap up?
Just keep grinding it out, guys, and believe in yourself. Set a goal and try to go get it. And I'd say just sometimes just set ridiculous goals if you want it. Set scary goals. Set goals that like scare you. Like actually, like oh shit, that goal scares me, and try to do it, man. Even if you get even 50% of it, you're at least going for it. Just do it, man. Just don't wait. If you want it, do it. If you want to try it, try it. And if you want to do that, do what you want to do it. Don't wait. So yeah.
All right, thank you so much for your final comments and just everything that you've said. Everything's been amazing. And thank you so much once again for your time.
So thanks for having me, definitely.
And to my audience who has made it all the way to the end of this interview section of the podcast, thank you so much. And if you haven't already done so, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who might be wanting to know more about Alex, about sales, or just wanting to know more about everything he has talked about. Do make sure to subscribe, like, share this video with all those people, and I'll see all of you for the next episode. Goodbye.